to have you here, especially because we were friends before you became part of the pre-launch plan program. And so I'm really excited. Please tell everyone who you are, what you do, all the good stuff.
Yes, absolutely. My name is Faith Bortamic, and I am a business coach who offers one-on-one coaching for creative entrepreneurs who are looking for more than just a business coach. So I help my clients grow their business sustainably with a step-by-step plan, a day-to-day productivity plan to help you reach your big goals. And I also help you develop the emotional stamina to be able to keep your head in the game. So business coaching is what I do in my business, but I also have a full-time career coaching principals and teachers. And I'm a wife, a mom, and I live in Phoenix, Arizona.
I love that. And I love, well, first of all, that you got so much of your productivity, like from being a principal and having to manage people and yourself, obviously. But I love the emotional component that you talked about, because I think that is like one of the unspoken things about going into business that like everyone talks about, but really and not just an emotional toll, but like, I heard someone say it's like entrepreneurship is like your chance. It's like self-discovery, right? Like there's things about yourself that you don't realize, or I know for me, like things like, why am I doing it like this? Why am I even thinking like this? And it's like, oh, it's because of my childhood patterns or something, it's like, there's a lot of emotional things that go on in terms of business, right? Wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely agree with you, Brenna. And I think that when I first started my business almost 3 years ago, I kind of listened and followed what you were supposed to do. And when I finally let go of listening to the outside and external, sources that I was listening to about how to do things in business, and I just paused for a moment and said, I know how to run a school of over 100 people. Like apply all of those skills and that knowledge to your business. And then I was golden. It was like, okay, I know how to do this. So
Totally.
absolutely.
Yeah, and the productivity thing too as well, because if you don't have your schedule down, if you can't manage yourself, like then, or you have like your emotions. So I know for me, sometimes my emotions stop me from being productive, right? It's like you're working against yourself, and that's not even like the other stuff that's going on outside of business sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. I feel like you can have the strongest plan, you can have the greatest to-do list, you can have like all of the plans to have the best offer, but if you don't have the productivity and more importantly the mindset to support what it takes to reach those goals and those milestones, it's going to be really difficult to get there.
If not impossible, right? So
right.
100%. So tell me about your experience, because I know we want to talk about like how you gotten clear on your messaging and your sales process, but like before you decided to take the and I think we have something we should talk about, which isn't on the list. Now I'm going to throw a curveball at you.
Absolutely.
Is that Faith got on a call with me one day. I was sans makeup. Like usually she just asked, and I was like, oh, it's Faith. It's my friend. I'll just get on a call with her. And she was saying how she was thinking about the pre-launch plan program. But, I really want to talk about first, before we get into your experience with selling, I think too, like your experience with courses and programs, because you were hesitant to a degree to even decide to kind of make the decision to come over. Am I reflecting that correctly?
You are, Brenna. And I'm the very cautious now investor in my business, because I have invested in coaches before and courses, programs, and it didn't yield the results or the it wasn't really what they were good at messaging what you thought you were going to get out of the program, but it didn't actually yield those types of results. So I kind of have, to be very transparent, been burned before. And so I now am like very calculated about investing. And so I knew that you would take the time to chat with me more about my questions that I had for the pre-launch program. And that was going to help me make or break my decision.
Totally. And I think that's really important too, like with any program, not just mine, right? Is like, doing your research, asking questions, going with your gut. And, I think there's a different things, but yeah, you could be a really great marketer and sell a really crappy program, right? So it's like,
Yes.
there's a big difference between the two that I don't, once again, on online business, I don't think is talked about a lot. Like you can have, great copy, great marketer, it sells a cruddy offer, right? And so you have to be cautious of what you're investing in. So tell us about a little bit about your experience just with selling in general before taking the program.
I feel like it's been absolutely a roller coaster. I talked about external voices in my head as far as like, what are people out there saying you should do? And so I think early on in my business, I got kind of in that hustle mode. You've got to go hard on this launch. It should have a cart open, this, that, 50,000 emails that were so like, buy my program. And I got caught up in that kind of loop. And it did not feel good at all. And it was exhausting. And I wasn't communicating about what I did with my clients very well at all. And so that kind of, I think that confusion contributed to my inability to be able to message what results my clients get when they work with me.
Right. And so I think this kind of takes us to the point where it's like, why did you decide, like talking earlier about like you're hesitant, and then like kind of your selling process, what made you decide, okay, the pre-launch plan program might be a good fit for where I'm at right now?
Well, because I actually was when I took the pre-launch program, it was, what was it, like early spring, fall? Summer?
I think we started in April. So
yes.
Kind of middle of spring.
So for a while, I had kind of been at a point in my business where I initially started out with just a productivity coach focus and helping clients become more productive in their business. But what I learned as I was delivering and supporting my clients was that I was doing way more than just productivity. That was one tiny part of all the other things that I was doing around helping them, create new offers, build a marketing plan, like all the different things, even brainstorming their emails and social media, and then developing them emotional mindset, that it takes to be able to run the business. And so I was kind of confused myself, like, how do I actually tell them I do all these things? And you brought to my attention too, that I'm somebody who has, because of my, experience as an educator and such, has an ability to be able to do a lot of things for my clients. And so how do we actually narrow that into one thing that I can talk very confidently and clearly about? And then all the other stuff is like a benefit when you work with me. So I was confused about how to message how powerful a partnership with a client is. And that was frustrating to me because I was like, I know I offer so many great things, but I don't know how to tell people about it. And so when I reached out to you, I trusted you because we have had, we've been friends since we both started our business almost 3.5 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And so I knew that the trust was there, but I really wanted to dig into the details about, okay, in the pre-launch program, what are the details, but more importantly, for me, it was about what kind of one-on-one support am I going to get? Because that's what I was really eager to learn from you personally. And then also, how could I actually take what I learned from you and truly 100% apply to both my business and help my clients do the same? So it was just like, I don't want to learn from you and then not do anything with it, but I wanted to be sure that I was going to be able to take the knowledge and apply it.
So we'll go on the tail end of that. So knowing that was your goals, what was your experience inside the program with those things that were really important to you?
Oh my gosh. So I felt like the size of the group really allowed for one-on-one support. I also think the way that you structured the calls, where we got to submit our copy and you run through it detail by detail, was so valuable. That one-on-one support, the accessibility to you beyond the calls was very valuable, but also I think being a part of the whole group calls and walking through each person's copy even helped me, see somebody else, because it was like, oh, okay, she's saying that for somebody else. How can I apply that to my work? So there were a number of benefits. So the one-on-one support, check, got it. The group support, oh my gosh, that's a bonus that I wasn't even looking for, right? And learning about from other people's feedback. And then now I have taken what you have taught me and said, okay, what makes sense for me and my clients in making, because I'm not in the business of helping them create a whole pre-launch, but I'm in the business of helping them think through how they might market, right? And so taking some of those pieces that I've learned from you, simplifying in a way that helps them just take the next step towards a goal of theirs, which is launching and marketing a program that they have or a masterclass or such. So my experience was 100% just hands down the best experience. But I will tell you the one thing that really helped me shift and solve my problem of how to market my business was doing the activity around voice of customer and interviewing my clients. That was just
game changer, right?
A game changer. Yes, because, I think that's where I got stuck was on the language to use. And we needed to get my clients' language. And so being able to talk with my clients is where I discovered the language, but also more of that mindset piece came through. That was the key that makes me different than other business coaches. Oh, Siri wanted to join us on her live. And then also being able to take those interviews and really extract what are their pain points, what are their objections, that was huge for me. Huge.
Yeah, no, we spend a lot of time. So with everything that Faith's saying, just for anyone who's listening now or on a replay, like the very first thing we start off is messaging. Because if we don't message our offer, it's funny. I was helping a one-on-one client today, and I've been driving her a little batty, like really pressing her to go deeper and really work through something. And I told her today, I'm like, I know it feels like I'm being a pest, but if we don't get this right, everything that comes after this, it's like, it truly does really matter. Like making sure that we truly understand what we're communicating. And so I think that is definitely something that's super important. Like before we create any plan, we got to get our messaging down.
Well, and I think that goes to the activity around the elevator pitch and the benefits of coaching. That activity was another thing that really stood out to me. This is an amazing program, 100%. But I feel like, okay, I don't even now have to be like, okay, what was it that I wrote with Brenna? It's like, no, I'm a coach for creative entrepreneurs who are looking for more than just a business coach. And I give you a step-by-step, day-to-day productivity plan to help you reach your goals, right? That just rolls off my tongue now. And the emotional support and stamina that it takes to actually reach those goals. Like that never before was like so clear in my head, memorized, right? Like that's what I do. And so just being able to say that is like a huge win.
Oh my gosh. And so I love hearing you say it too. And I think the coolest part, so much of this, and I don't think you can sell confidence, but the one thing I definitely keep trying to convey through this whole process is like, once you have these little, like you're confident in your elevator speech, and then you're confident talking about your program. When you're confident talking about your program, all of a sudden you're a lot more confident in the, making offers or doing, whatever the things that we teach inside the program. And then you get people interested. It's like this huge, like cyclical effect that I really love about what I get to do and help people with. And so, and the other thing that I love, and Tiffany talked about this morning too, was like you said, the actual calls where everyone is getting to learn, because I'm not only spending a decent amount of time before the calls, like going over the copy. So I know exactly so when we get to the calls, my goal is to be super productive about what I saw. And then everyone gets to learn from everyone's copy. It's not just like, oh, okay, I'm giving this one review. I'm always thinking like, hey, this is something that's going to help Faith, but this is how you can apply it to what you're doing and how you can make it stronger. So it's not only those one-on-one edits. I actually think you're right that it's like it's the one-on-one edits plus, in my opinion, obviously, and the group that it makes it like makes it so much like exponentially quicker and faster, and how you can start moving ahead and using your copy to help move and not only market yourself, but start closing more sales.
Mhm. And I can go back to that elevator pitch document that we created together with all of your edits and everything. And I pull language right from there when I'm now talking in my Instagram stories, when it's like, I might just focus on the benefits, and just say one little tiny benefit out of the 5 that you helped me to create. And it's just so specific. And it's like, you can I think more people can now visualize themselves with like, oh yeah, I need that. Like, that's a benefit that I could really, benefit from.
Right.
So
Yeah. And I think that too, all of these things that we're talking about, this is just like the first week, right? This isn't even like the actual writing or the step-by-step plan that, we give inside the program. So is there anything that stands out to you that was like your absolute favorite part? And we might have already talked about it.
I think we talked about it. I really think the exercises around the elevator pitch and the voice of customer were the things that really helped me get clear on my messaging. And that was a big pain point for me.
Right. And I think the coolest part too is, like you said, is like not only helping you, but I know for me, when I sign up for programs, there is one in particular, my friend Marisa Corcoran, this was a few years ago, but I was like, I want to use this for me, but I want to be able to like use it, for my clients as well. Like, is this okay? I wanted to make sure. And of course she said it was fine, but it was like, that's really too, I think the cool thing is if you are working with clients, there's different pieces and elements of what you learn that hopefully you can apply to them as well, which then it's like 2 for 1.
Yes, absolutely. It is 2 for 1. And I have used the elevator pitch exercise with my client, with the 2 clients actually. And it was like a grueling process to kind of like, help work them through it. But it's like now they're so clear on what they're trying to accomplish, or what they're going to offer. And so it's exactly what I wanted, right? How's it going to help me and how is it going to help my clients?
No, I love that. Is there any like results, whether I know you're not exactly doing just the way, because you're taking what you learned inside and applying it different ways, which I really love too, is that when I did the headline for this live is like that you wanted to learn how, one of the things that you reflected back to me was that you wanted to learn how to sell in a way that wasn't like what everyone's teaching out there. And so when you think back, like, okay, what are some of those results, either with your writing, with the way you're feeling about things, that came out from the program?
Well, first and foremost, I got a client. I got a 6-month client because I got clear on my messaging. That's a big, huge result. But as far as like the copy, I think one of the things I shared with you is that I really pay attention to how you write your emails. And I've kind of picked up on through the program and just being on your email list, like just how, you can sell without selling. And just, I've gotten more confident with writing stories too, which, I don't enjoy writing at all.
Yeah, Faith does not love writing. And so and one of the things too, inside the program is like constantly like trying to think of ideas and ways to use our emails or our social media or things that aren't like just the standard, I'm going to sit and have to write a long story, right? Thinking of different ways to go about it. So
So I think that, I know you said you can't sell confidence, but you definitely have helped me become a more confident writer for sure. Because I understand kind of like the mechanics, but more so like the why behind it. You know what I mean? And sort of just here's the pattern almost. And that's what my brain loves. My brain loves systems and patterns. And so I've figured out the pattern. And I think that helps me. I no longer sit down in front of my computer at a blank screen for an hour. I may get stuck for like a few minutes now, but then it's like, okay, I can use this. And now you've actually got me thinking about like, okay, here's an everyday thing that happens. How can I tie this back to a business aha moment? And this could be an email.
Yeah, no, those are the best, right? Then it's not, and that's what I love about writing emails in general. And is that once you can kind of figure out how to work it in, then all of a sudden you can just tell any stories. And when you know the strategy behind, when you have like the strategy to back up, you understand the why and how to use those things to try and accomplish the goals that we need to in our writing. So,
You know, I think that's a really good point, Brenna, because I feel like you asked me earlier about what was my experience with selling or launches in the past, and I didn't have a strategy behind it. That's the huge key. And this is a very strategic approach to pre-launching. And I really appreciated the way that you mapped it out in a way that was almost like scaffolded. So it was like, here's what we're trying to accomplish, and then breaking it down, like, and then leading us up to now here's your big, huge, grand plan, right? So the step-by-step, like very methodical approach to first we do this and then we do this was really helpful to be a learner on this side, because it could be a little, it could be a lot.
Yeah. And I think something that I haven't talked about in other lives too is that like that you have, I mean, you've been a teacher, a principal, like, curriculum. And so that was one of the things that I invested in for this program was like, okay, I have a million ideas up here. How can I get them out in a way that is helpful, that gets people to the goal? And with you saying that you felt like things were step by step, that I did you feel like it was something from your teacher standpoint, your administrative standpoint that could be implemented, in terms of really going and being able to accomplish the things that we talked about each module?
I think so. I definitely think so. I appreciated like the concept being shared. Like, so you taught us a concept, gave us some examples of what it would actually look like, and then we were able to do it on our own. That's actually called instructional scaffolding. So it's like, here's the concept, let me show you how to do it, and now you get to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure that was all thanks to my wonderful curriculum person, Nissa, who helped me. And the coolest thing too is like, plus I got to go through this amazing beta round with all of these amazing students. And so I've gotten feedback, and now I actually met with the person and am implementing any feedback I got to make it even better. So I'm really excited. And, kind of like to wrap up, if someone is thinking like, okay, is this something that I should invest in? Is it worth the money? Should I do the pre-launch? Do I have the time? Like, what would you tell someone who's thinking about it?
I would say hands down, invest. I would also say make sure you have the time, because it is a lot of work, but it's very doable if you stay committed to doing it. And I think that it's going to pay off. Like, putting in the work now is going to just reap multiple benefits for your business financially, potentially, but also just in how you talk about your business confidently. So yeah, to answer your question, this is the program.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, and like I said, it's a huge compliment, especially knowing that, even though we were friends, like Faith definitely was like, I need to know that this is what's going to happen. And that coming through on that program promise, was really important to me. So I am so thankful that you took a chance and went on this beta journey with me for the first round. So
I'm so happy I did.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for coming live with me today. I appreciate you, especially Faith is traveling and took time out of her travel schedule to stop and come on live here. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.